Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my weekly video journal. I am Antonio Ortiz, and this week we are diving into a major structural shift occurring in media, the evolution of professional journalism norms, and how those shifting standards connect back to the fundamental building blocks of communication. To explore this, we're going to go into this weekly assigned multimedia reading material, which is the Schoolhouse Rock Classics on Nouns and Pronouns, and the podcast Journalism Norms Are Changing. Here's Why You Should Care. So, to start, I wanted to look at the foundational elements of our writing. The first two videos we watched this week, the Schoolhouse Rock Classics and Rufus Xavier's Sarsaparilla, focusing on pronouns, might seem kind of elementary at first glance. However, as student journalists, these videos serve as vital reminders of the mechanics of clear and ethical reporting. In A Noun is a Place, Person, or Thing, we are reminded that journalism is inherently a pursuit of this concrete. Our stories are entirely built on the nouns that we use, the specific people we interview, the exact places where news happens, and the physical things that serve as evidence. When we transition to the pronoun video, the song points out that constantly repeating proper nouns can really wear you down. It teaches us that pronouns are structural tools used to keep communication efficient and readable. In long form reporting, our copy must be incredibly precise. A misplaced pronoun or vague antecedent doesn't just make a sentence grammatically incorrect, it can completely mislead a reader or compromise the accuracy of an investigation. Mastering these basic rules, as emphasized in our Khan Academy modules on avoiding comma splices and run on sentences, it's the first step in building institutional trust with our audience. Now, this brings us to our other piece of media that we had. Journalism norms are changing, and here's why you should care. This report highlights a massive structural transformation. We're moving decisively away from the era of the cold, objective voice of God legacy broadcaster and transitioning to a highly visual, conversational, and personality led media landscape. So today's audiences, especially digital natives, increasingly look for authenticity. They're moving away from faceless news brands and placing their trust in individual and transparent creators. This directly relates to how we use language. Just like the pronoun video suggests using language that is efficient and direct rather than exhausting, modern video journalism requires us to speak with our audiences and not at them. As I conduct my final project here in Durango, this shift is highly relevant. To capture the real human narrative of their physical strain, I cannot rely on a rigid corporate interviewing style. I have to embrace a conversational approach where my subjects feel comfortable showing their genuine selves on camera. Now, to play devil's advocate, we must critique the potential dangers of this changing norm. While the shift toward conversational video first journalism builds an intimate connection with the viewer, it also creates a dangerous vulnerability. When media organizations provide likability and prioritize conversational ease over rigorous institutional gatekeeping, the line between objective reporting and opinionated journalism begins to blur. In a landscape where anyone with a smartphone can claim the title of an independent creator, we risk sacrificing factual depth for algorithmic appeal. Intimate, highly produced narrative investigations are expensive and time consuming, whereas opinion-led chats are cheap and highly shareable. If we fully abandon traditional journalistic detachment in favor of personality, we risk feeding into the echo chambers where audiences only trust reporters who share their personal worldviews. As media creators, we must find a way to balance modern engaging video formats with the uncompromising ethical standards of legacy reporting. Ultimately, whether we're analyzing the basic mechanics of nouns or pronouns or navigating the complex changing ethics of the global newsroom, our goal remains the same, and that's to tell truthful stories that matter.